officially a meeting in the ladies' room.
Yeah, like that.
Yes. Ladies, are we making dinner or are you making reservations? We're busy. It's not like it used to be when our parents and grandparents, were, in relations and raised the children. Career, we're trying to balance, being a mother as well as, being a wife or a partner.
You nailed it. You really did. Because, and I mean, like, what we gonna eat? That'd be like something quick. Like you're going home to cook and then you be like, cooking what? Hot dogs.
Your sound's not on.
I am muted and running my mouth
There
like I'm
you
just.
Well, hello, honey. I guess we're live. I'm looking. Okay. So, I'm Keisha.
Hi. In the chat.
How are
How you
you?
doing?
What's your name again?
My name is Sanaa, and people call me Miss Sunshine.
I'll hate you, sunshine. Yes. Light up this world.
Yeah. And tell me your name again. I know we just met.
I'm Keisha.
Hello, Keisha. Hi, Eric in the
Yeah.
chat. How you doing?
Hello.
So yeah.
So, have you heard, while we wasting a little bit of time here, the Harvey and Michael B. Jordan situation.
Child, a whole hot mess. Okay.
What do you think? I was kind of shocked because, earlier on, Steve was saying some really nice things about him. And so I figured he was the one. I guess she changed the idea of that.
So, I think it's interesting because I don't know, the first person that came to mind, and don't judge me for this, was our boy, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. That's who I thought of first. Hey, how you doing, lady?
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
All
Good.
right.
Good.
And I'm Keisha.
I'm Disa.
That was Sanaa.
All right, Lisa. Nice to meet you.
Nice
We
to
was
meet
just sitting
you.
here talking about Laura Hardy and Harvey and Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, yes, honey.
I have no knowledge of that stuff at all, so I can get the 411 because I don't know.
I don't know either. I just know what I seen that they broke up, but they're not saying what it's about. So I'm wondering, for them to be so lovey-dovey months ago, and now just from that to a total breakup.
He wanted to be a family man. He wanted to, this is what the blogs are saying, that he wanted to settle down and make her his wife. And she was like, I don't have to do that. And so she chose not to do that. And so when I say it made me think of Kevin Samuels, with all this high value man stuff, I'm thinking this is what it looks like when a woman doesn't really need all of that. When she has her own bag, when her dad taught her that she's the prize. Then you have this other, right? Then you have this other group of people saying, "Oh no, she just wants to be for the streets. She's the female feature," which I thought was hilarious.
That she wanted to be. They said she wanted to be what?
For the streets.
For the
as
streets.
Yeah, like as if the goal in 2022 is to be a wife, right? When you have that much money, I don't know. I don't know.
It's strange because I think that I'd like to say, even when a lot of sisters, like when the sisters have money, they misconstrue that money means that they don't want happiness. I think by nature, naturally, every woman, whether she has money or not, whether she admits or not, like at some point in her life, it may be that like, hey, she doesn't want it right now. Okay, that's okay. But I think as time goes by, she would desire to have somebody share her life with, whether she has the bag or has no bag. I just think like later on she might just be like, hey, I do want somebody in my life.
I'm ready.
You know?
Right. I'm ready.
And she's kind of young,
Everybody
right?
has that moment.
How old is she? How old is Lori Harvey? Let me see what the Googles say.
Sure. She went in her 20s.
Yeah.
That's kind of young, y'all.
Yeah.
It is.
This is not,
It is.
you know, this is not 1920 where you have to get married at 20 and have 50 kids to till the land or whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a different
Absolutely.
time.
And I absolutely didn't agree with marriage early on myself. I was like, what? I'm gonna wait until I'm 40 or 50 years old. You know?
Child, she was 25. That's a baby.
But,
She's a
yeah.
baby.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, get time to know what it is that person wants in their life and what they haven't, you know, like you said, just buy into the
Right.
whole thing.
And absolutely
get married,
still
have
learning
children.
yourself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Still learning
Right.
yourself. And even knowing yourself, you change. Your wants and needs change as you grow older and you
Sure.
venture out in the different avenues of your life. So you don't always want the same thing.
Right.
For sure. For
Absolutely.
sure. Even from 20 to now, my whole perspective in life is different, you know?
Absolutely.
I couldn't see my 21-year-old coming home talking about, Mom, I'm getting married. You what? Where have you been? What have you done? Child, please.
Mhm. Mhm. Like,
Right.
I don't think, you know, like I personally, if they did come, I don't advocate it. But I did advocate with my girls' marriage. I did advocate that there's a sequence of things that should happen if you desire family. And the sequence is, even though the sequence didn't hit for me, I knew that there's a sequence regardless, even though I didn't do the sequence. I understood that it was marriage before children. And, you know, there's a protocol of things. So even though I didn't do it, you know, per se, I was all backwards and out of sync. But however, I got there. But I teach my girls, like, you know, this is first off, like, as a community, it cannot be that we think we can continue to do what we're doing unsuccessfully. Like, that's just first.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You
There
know,
comes a
we're
point.
not, we see like 50s and 60s, the unified family, and now we can't even get a brother to ask you to walk down the aisle. So something has happened. That's not
Right.
a natural order. So I tell my girls, they're younger, but this is the sequence of things. You know, before you have, and if it was me, I would rather, like, you would have, you know, went into your relationship and then, you know, knew that you guys were going to be together. That has to be like okay, and do it
Right.
right, so that we can break the cycles of, you know, his expectation when he's with you is this is what is going to be. I don't
Right.
later on wonder why he don't marry me, you know, like not wondering why he don't.
Some people
Well, that's
believe
kind of
that some people believe that it's about racking up relationships before you choose to settle down as a woman. And my perspective on that is a little different. You know, as I get older, I believe that it's more important to be intentional about not giving yourself to everybody that you date just because you're dating them, right?
Not sharing that
this is
space
more
with
about-
everyone.
Right. It's more about learning who you are and finding out what's going to work for you, because a marriage is a contract, and it's the goal is for it to be a long-term contract, right?
Right.
So
All right.
speaking of which,
So,
Sorry.
long-term contracts,
yes.
marriage and children. Children are definitely
Yes.
our long-term contract,
Yes,
and
indeed.
actually the topic of our conversation today. So, today our topic is the reality of raising kids with absent fathers. What are you ladies' statuses? I am raising my children alone, single. I have one at home who is 14 years old. She's my last minor in the home. I've successfully gotten 5 out on the way, grown and off doing their own thing, through the coop. So
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
And
Good
it
job.
wasn't always that way, but it is. And so the reality is that once it changes, you move along. And you got to
Hey,
figure it out from there. So where are you all in the raising the kids department?
well, Kay Boogie, she said something to the Queen. So we should say, hey, Queen, good evening to you too. Is Kay Boogie. Good evening to you too, Queen.
Hey, good
Hello.
evening, Kate. Personally, I have co-parented in the past. I am currently raising two children alone, a set of twins, a boy and a girl. They are 8 years old. My older two children from another lifetime, they have left the nest. They are adulting and adulting very well
Oh,
in ways that let me know that, I instill very good, very strong values in
you
them.
go,
So
mom.
that's where we at with it.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping to get it right again this time with
All
the
right.
son finally. That's tricky.
Right.
That's
Yes,
real
it
tricky.
is tricky. It's really tricky being a mom, raising a boy. But it's just as
Yeah,
tricky being a mom, raising a girl too.
Yeah.
You just, I've
Yeah.
done them
facts,
both. And
facts.
yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
And
and
yourself?
I think I get like ducktails back on what we said a little bit earlier. The reality of raising children with absent fathers is like back down to that breakdown of the family structure that we
Mm-hmm.
have like
yeah,
gotten used to nowadays. I think what we should do is, I feel like in a sense, my generation, the 40s generation, we touch some of that. And I think it's important for us to, like, even though we know that this is reality, we should change the narrative at this point. And it really comes back down to us as parents instilling strong values in our children, even though we know they go, whichever way. But still, when you instill it in them, they come back and they know right from wrong. I think it's time for us to change the narrative as in teaching our children what the expectations should be. So therefore, they're not
yeah,
repeating the same things over and over, and getting them to know that have healthy relationships with your counterpart, and then have the expectations of union, so that we can
Mm-hmm.
start seeing more marriages starting to take place in our community again, just as natural as everybody else does around the world.
Right.
We
Right.
get
Right.
out of the condition that's been
yeah.
on us, and change the reality. And I think it would be so much better now. We can go to our children and watch them get married and walk down the aisle and be so happy that we are so proud. That would, as a woman alone, that is something that just to see your daughter do it, or just to see your son do it, that we haven't necessarily done that way, would be like so powerful. So powerful.
Okay.
Because now
So
we're just
I
changing.
yeah, I actually was married. So I want to see that for my girls. And like you were saying, if we instill in them those values have been instilled in my children, but still, like you said, some will do their own thing.
Yeah.
I have I've raised 6 set of children. I'm on the last one now. And out of all the adults, they all see relationships differently, and I see them move in them differently. And I got one that's like, I'm not having no kids, I'm not living with nobody, I'm not doing anything until I'm married. And I'm with her. Hey, go ahead, whatever works for you, baby. That's right, do that. And then I got one that's she's in love. It's her boo. She's got my first grandbaby. Amen to that. She's got my first grandbaby, and they doing their thing. Now my son, he's not looking for no kids, but he got his boo, and they shacked up already. So everybody has, taken out of the relationships what they wanted. But then for that baby that's still at home, raising her without the father, without the example that they had, is what I worry about the most, because she remembers him. She remembers him and she loves him, and she remembers seeing him interact with them, but she doesn't have that herself because he's not around. So the worst part about it for me is watching her struggle through it. You know, when graduation came, daddy was there for them, but he wasn't there for me. You know, she's passed 2 graduations and she's heading on to high school. And she's having a problem dealing with those things and being able to, if she talks to him, which is sporadic, being able to express to him how she feels because she's afraid she's going to run him further off. And I'm like, no, you have the right to express your feelings, but you have to respect him. He's still your father.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You have to respect him. And if he's trying, you have to allow that room. Don't block your blessing. Right. So
for sure.
I try to encourage her. You know, some people it just takes a little longer. It doesn't mean it's you, because it's definitely not you. You are beautiful. You are the gift. You are the gift. So if he's not going to be present, he's absolutely missing out. The things that you're missing out of as well, but it's not because of anything that you're doing. So I try to recreate that in her and you know, keep her encouraged. I absolutely love when I see them interact. If he does call or if she calls and he happens to pick it up this time, you know, I love the light up that she has afterwards. I don't think fathers realize how important they are. Like my father and me were really close. And I can remember being a little girl, you couldn't tell me nothing. Oh, my handsome daddy. That's what I used to call him. My handsome daddy. My handsome daddy that. And when I got older and my parents split, because I knew the background for it wasn't healthy for us, I was hurt to see him go, but I was relieved at the same time. So in my adulthood, looking back, absolutely, we were supposed to be going. I don't fault my mom for that at all. I appreciate that she took us out of those surroundings. But as the little girl in me still misses my daddy. You know,
for sure.
Still misses my daddy. And but the woman in me knows that's not what I needed. So I pray the day that I can see her get to the point of I'm going to be all right anyway, you know. And I got this. I'm looking for that. I try to, you know, grow that into her. I absolutely love when I see fathers. I'm a social worker. I'm a senior social worker for my county. And I love to see fathers come to me and need help. They raising their kids alone. And, you know, I love it. I absolutely love it. I try to, as much as I can, do whatever I can for them, because you don't see very often a man who is taking on 2-3 kids. He dragging them behind just like we did and mama did back in the day. And he doing a good job. You don't hear people talk about it like you hear people talk about women raising kids alone. So I have respect for that as well. There are definitely a lot of things that fathers are needed for. I wish that more men took the time to realize what they are to their children. Even in your absence, they're still thinking about you every day. There's things that they may need to do or that they're doing, and they, you know, what if, you know, dad could help me with this, or, you know, they roll back on that. They roll back on it. Little girls, they don't model they boys after their boyfriends or whatever they are, their like interests after what they saw in their father or what was relayed to them. If they don't have that to refer to, Lord, you are looking at some trouble there, because you know us, we are nurturers and we like to fix things. Well, you know it, we done picked up something and trying to fix it that won't good for you. So to kill that, which a lot of women run into, it starts from daddy being available to little girls and little boys, because them little boys gonna grow up to be the men that the little girls is dating. So I really think, you know, fathers are definitely needed. And even if you feel like fathers out there, even if you feel like you're not worthy, you just might not be at that place in your life where you want to be. You might not making enough money to take them here or do that. It is definitely not what's the most valuable thing about the father and child relationship. It is not. I've not put child support on him for none of my kids. And when I say I did it alone, I did it. From the second we split, I did it alone. And because in my mind, as a parent from the beginning, I knew once I had this baby, it's all me. Whether I'm married or not, whether I'm with them or not, this is my responsibility. And a lot of times I look for, you just look for that, the co-parenting factor. You look for the co-parenting factor. Like you were saying, you have co-parented in the past. That co-parenting factor goes a long way. A lot of times when kids only have one way, then they think of it as it's mom's way or the highway. And you really want them to have, mom said X, Y, Z, yes, but you also need somebody to back you on that sometimes. That's really important in co-parenting and raising your kids to realize it's not just mom as a dictatorship. It's really because this is what's right for you. Now, he may explain it to you one way and you understand it. I may explain it to you another way and you might not understand it. However, you would have the choices there before you.
I'm gonna jump in here. I agree with you. It's like a co-facilitation, and it's really important to be on the same page. There's a comment that says that a lot of women talk bad about the father, and a lot of fathers also talk bad about the moms. The men want to get involved, but the women just talk bad. And I have a perspective on that might not be the same as everyone. I believe that it's super important not to poison your children against their other parent, because no matter what, their views are going to be shaped by your actions and that other parent's actions. But it's also super important as an adult to not let someone else's word and attitude give you an out from doing what your responsibilities say you have to do. I don't care what is said about me by my child's father. I still have a role as their mom to fulfill my duty and not even acknowledge that negativity that's being said. That's my responsibility.
Because really,
teaching my children. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
I was just going to say, by doing that, I'm teaching them A, how to cope, right? And B, how to not be pulled into toxicity every time somebody throws it out there. I don't have to engage in that negativity, right? I have the opportunity to just be an example. Eric in the comments actually said, do you think single fathers try to find a woman to help them like some single women try to find a man too fast and for the wrong reasons? Absolutely. Look at Miss Seeley in the color. No, I'm just kidding. Sis, I'm gonna let you take that question.
Right. I'm
gonna let you take that question.
Pull it out.
Yes, Lord. He said, how can you co-parent thinking my Johnny Gill? Okay.
Oh,
now I'm gonna tell you, I think it takes two to be thinking my Johnny Gill. And if y'all still thinking my Johnny Gill, y'all might need to take a trip to the counselor, because it might still be something there y'all can fix, work on, and you won't be worrying about co-parenting without each other, in the Johnny Gill factor. I myself, because of the situation surrounding us separating, I didn't feel like that. I was like, this the last thing on my mind. I want you to deal with your children and, work with your kids, and I'm gonna stay far out your way. So I did the most. My a lot of people don't know, and they say, oh, she just forgot about him, and that was not the case at all. Nor did I ever just forget about him. I've done, food to the house because he couldn't feed himself, just groceries, a whole truck. I dragged my kids over there after working 2 jobs. After that income was out my house, I was working days and nights, and I still found my little supposed to be time off to carry my kids over there when he wasn't able to come get them. I tried everything possible to keep that relationship going, because I feel like, your kids are always going to need him. I'm not going to remove him because I've had to remove him for my health and my mind reasons. I try to enforce, y'all need each other. Y'all gonna have to have this time. I don't care what y'all got going on. Go ahead over here. Talk to your daddy. Y'all stay over here. I come get you tomorrow. That sort of thing. And it worked out really good for a while. Go ahead. You said what?
Because I'm thinking you're done, and I'm jumping. But you go ahead, because I'm gonna address this comment as soon as you're done.
Just as soon as you had the kid, you caught on. It was on you.
Yeah, like you have a kid and you automatically think it's only your responsibility.
No,
the truth of the matter is, when there's a person growing inside of you.
There you go. Say it. When the person is growing inside of you, it's my responsibility to make sure the baby is fed. It's my responsibility that I have all the great health care that I need.
When there's a person in you,
I gotta get the proper sleep. Right. I gotta get the proper eat. I still have to work. Yeah.
Not just that. If he decides right this second that he no longer wants to be a part of the process, there is nothing tethering him, not a ring, not a marriage contract, not anything tethering him to the responsibility. That's just facts. The fact is, the life is still inside of me. So if he leaves right now, or if he dies right now, I still have to shoulder this responsibility no matter what. So it sounded like what she was saying was, once that life was growing inside of her, she automatically had that responsibility as her responsibility. Yeah. It's awesome when it's a twofold shared responsibility. That's not always the reality. So I believe that's where the good sis was going with that statement.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. That is absolutely what I mean. I try to instill that in any woman who has a baby. You may be in love and married today, but it may not be that way tomorrow. You have to be prepared mentally that if anything should go wrong with that, you have to find the strength in yourself to continue to do the best job you can taking care of that child. Not saying that you want to do it without him or that he has any less right to the child than you, because that's absolutely not it at all. He's absolutely needed and wanted and detrimental to the child's raising. You just know that if anything happens, or Lord forbid something, you know how they doing our men today anyway. He could be going tomorrow just from walking to the store.
Right.
You got to be prepared to be able to care for the child yourself.
There's some faulty police officers, right?
With women, it needs to be understood, unless it's unnatural. Women, it's innately, like it is a given, because we are connected. We're connected through the womb, umbilical cords, everything is connected. It would be an unnatural thought process from a woman to do anything other than to take care of her child. She doesn't think anything other than to, because it is embedded naturally. So that's the only difference between the female aspect from the male. Yes, we need you. Yes, we know that. And yes, you're a part of the process in the union. But because we are embedded by umbilical cord thought process, food ingested, everything is combined to us, we're naturally just going to think this is my responsibility. We don't even think the thought. We don't even have to think the thought, because it's a natural thought. Now, women that don't, that's an unnatural thought. Unnaturally. So something unnatural happened to her for her to cut ties and walk away from her children. So that's why.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. And fathers out there, y'all are all wanted and needed in your children's lives. Y'all have all what God gave you for them right there. You just put your mind to it. Do it. Next coming up, we have the Man Cave. Sunday nights at 7. And we're going to bring it to a close. For today, thank you for coming out. See us next week. Bye, ladies.
Have a good Sunday, y'all. Great discussion, ladies. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
officially a meeting in the ladies' room.
Yeah, like that.
Yes. Ladies, are we making dinner or are you making reservations? We're busy. It's not like it used to be when our parents and grandparents, were